Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. We're glad to have you here with us. Today we are going to be continuing with administration, BTO integration team. We got all of us together here. So let's start. Juanita,
I'm part of BTO integration. Just a few reminders here. The referral bonus program, $500. You bring someone on. Also, don't forget that you stay just for the Zoom meeting today. We have 2 raffles for $300, and everyone wins because everyone gets 3 points added to their BTO point card. And wanted to let y'all know also that y'all have available equipment, step decks, RGNs, and reefers are on their way. We have no vans, but step decks are on their way, available.
Yep. Thank you, Juanita. Yeah, so I want to continue with what we spoke about last time about safety, administration, BTO integration. That's why we're here today. In the very beginning, I want to start with this map that I have on my screen. This is a report based last 2 years of all the roadside inspections where we are being inspected. And if you can, as you can see, it's pretty much all over the place. Okay, gone are those days back in 1980s or 90s or even early 2000s. When it was much easier. You know, you get in Texas, for example, you can pretty much throw away your logbook, some guy said, you know, because the system that wasn't in place, the CSA system wasn't in place, and it was much easier, you know, to do that. Today, that's not the case. With the ISS scores, with CSA scores, all of this stuff that, you know, FMCSA is keeping track on us and stuff like that. But anyway, bottom line, it's... looking at this map, it says one thing to me. If you're driving over the road, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to be inspected, like it or not. So this is a big eye-opener, I think it was for me. I hope it is for you. The next thing that I want to show is yesterday, we actually pushed an update for everybody that's... everybody to see this new report. It's the BTO card. Before, it used to be just one small card and it just gave you the points. Today, you have these extra reports in here for yourself that you can see. So the first one is roadside inspection, then personal conveyance report, and then the speeding report is coming up. It's not available yet. But I want us to focus on the roadside inspection. Check this out. So based on, let me just zoom in like this. Based on all of the roadside inspections that we've had for the whole company, these are the most big things that are happening. Okay? And if you can see, I told you guys about this, but as you can see, tires is one big thing. Brakes, the next one. Then you have the lights. And the nice thing about this report, you can click on these. You see how right now it shows past. So obviously we have a lot more past inspections, which is good. But if to kind of narrow in for you specifically, you can turn off all of these fleet inspections and fleet office investigation, stuff like that. And this big red one, and this will show you specifically you. So this person, for example, has been only passing inspections, so this is good. Okay, then the next person right here, if you look at this, we can turn off the past, turn off the office investigations, and then you see how the lighter colors is your colors, the BTO. And then the dark one is the fleet. So if you turn off the fleet, this is, for example, a red one. Okay. So we have this question, well, you know, I am probably the best owner operator there is and all of this. And I'm like, look, if you are, that's great. Okay, we're glad to have you. But we've been, because we didn't have this data before, or at least in this sense, we were trying to fix the issue with the beds, safety score by just making general announcements and just making it, overall, hey, let's just try better, Well, the thing is, it's not working, okay? It's not working. Like another thing I want to point out about this, look at this guy. He's been always failing, never passing inspections. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but just see that for now. This one, for example, is, if we turn off all of the fleet stuff, okay, this one's passing, so that's good. And then I think this one is, yeah, this one doesn't even have, no. Yeah, this one's passing and failing. So, but you see how the passing is way, way more than the failed? That's what we need to see. So bottom line, here's the thing. We understand that, inspections happen. We understand, make sure that one's muted. We understand that, stuff happens. I want to emphasize on the fact that what's changing right now, where we are in the process of tackling down this safety score once and for all. We're going to have it down, okay? We're going to have it down because we have a much better handle, I think, and much better tools. Why, you ask? Because our goal is to narrow down who is the violator, who is the person that's giving all of these issues for the whole fleet. Because guess what? Something else that I was kind of, positively excited about. Out of the whole fleet, I have a report in here. I should have probably, had it connected or something, but I didn't. But I have a report in here that we pulled. And out of the whole fleet, there's only 13 guys that's responsible for 50% of the whole safety
violation
score, why our safety score is so high.
Mm-hmm.
13 out of 100 responsible for 50%, 50. So, well, the good news is a lot of those guys ain't here anymore. Okay, I would say more than half of the guys that are on that 13 list.
Mm-hmm.
The remaining, we're working with them. They've already been called. They've already been confronted about it. They've already been, Josh been working on that pretty much this last month, on just tackling down and figuring out, narrowing it down, I should say. And the idea is this. If you look at these inspections and you have this guy, for example, passing inspection, but yes, failed some, but mostly passing. That's good. If you have some guys like this that's always passing, that's great. Okay? If you have, well, yeah, this one's also passing. If you have somebody like this who is always failing, this ain't going to be allowed anymore. That's bottom line what I can say. Because we cannot do what we need to do as a business, to move forward. We have close to 100 trucks, and majority of you, literally, the data shows, okay, majority of you are doing great job at safety. I feel like it's that majority that we need to protect, we need to that deserve to be rewarded. Okay, so I'm not trying to make anybody offended or anything, but just know, look, we need to see improvements on these stuff. If we don't see these improvements, there's a line we're gonna have to cross. But you have the control to do it. I'm giving you all of this data. Everybody's able to go right now after this meeting and go check this out for yourself. You can see where you at yourself. We're giving you all of this data so that you can be the judge and see how you're doing. Because, look, we want you to improve. We want you to make the money to be able to not just, well, yeah, I make all of this money, I make all this, great loads, but then on safety side, you're at huge liabilities to yourself, and us and everybody else. That has to change. It has to change. It's very important. We're going to be talking about tools a little bit, and I want Josh a little bit, to mention, but specifically, PC, some tools on that, speeding. Go ahead.
Yes, so here at PDP, thank you, by the way, Peter, for passing that over. But here at PDP, we're looking at doing a lot more audits. That shouldn't come as a scare to you. That shouldn't come as a something to dread, for example. But at the same time, we do have our 15% of the company that we are looking at that is creating 50% of the violations that we see on our FMCSA score. And so we are wanting to lower that so that you as BTOs can get better loads, so that you can bypass weight inspections more often and so forth. And so we are honing down on the PC, as you heard last month. We've come up with some better tools on our end to be able to audit that more efficiently. And it's exciting from an office perspective to be able to take that information, utilize it more efficiently, and be able to pass that information on to you as a BTO. And I know even some of you have seen that as soon as last week. Again, there was no violations going out on that from us as a company or from what we understand as a DOT, from the DOT either. However, we do want to make sure that you understand that going forward, you understand the policy of PDP in regard to PC, which is personal conveyance, as well as looking at speeding. Speeding is something that we're looking at to be something that we don't want the DOT to discover about you. However, we want it to be preemptive. I don't know if Peter's mentioned it yet, but we don't want to be your police force. We want you to be self-policing yourself to the point where you aren't going to run into a DOT officer and have a violation or get a random inspection because of speeding, because of a random audit on your PC and so forth. And so as we're still working on the back kitchen, as you guess, I would say, to be able to audit everything efficiently, get all the bugs out of the works, and be able to do that out of respect to you as BTO drivers. And that's very important to us, to maintain integrity, to maintain authenticity, and to make sure that we are as efficient and credible as we need to be.
Yep. Thank you, Josh. I also want to show some more graphs, some more data to kind of solidify what Josh was saying. I would like to show a map or a graph right now on the screen. This is a graph of everything that we've had in the last 2 years for the company. And you guys know this, that the way the FMCSA works. It is the first 6 months is triples the number of violations. Then between 7 to 12 months, it doubles. And then the last year, 13 through 24 months, that's only times 1. So bottom line, the way we will bring this CSA score down, and it's coming down, okay? We have a lot of good tools in place to make sure it goes down. We have a lot of strategies and a lot of enforcements put in place to make sure it gets done. And looking at this, as long as if we are getting the new data that's much better than what's falling off, we will see a drop. And it's not just at the very end of the last 2 years. It's also between 7 and 6 months and 13 to 12 months, because that's when it's dropped from ×3 to ×2, or from ×2 to ×1. So this is very, very important to see. But why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Obviously, a lot of you guys will have a big question. Well, I'm an owner-operator. I'm not a driver. You're telling me how to drive. And I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from that. I've had a couple calls actually come to me from last meeting when we had about speeding and all of this. And I appreciate that, because that does help. And I mean, it actually helps me to see that you guys are listening big time. So that helps. Here's what I want to mention, make sure that we're on the same page. You're not drivers, okay? I'm not treating you as drivers, and I'm not going to treat you as drivers. I think that this company has went way and beyond on making sure we stay, we do not get into the gray area, but we do have the division between you guys are owner-operators, not drivers, and how we do things, how we approach things, and so forth. So it's very, very important to understand that, yes, you're an owner-operator, but we have a bad score because I would say, how can I say this? I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just going to say it directly without beating around the bush. How about that? Okay.
That's probably the best way.
You're great, okay? But if you're not, you can't be here, period. Okay? So it's up to you to take the chance and to make sure that you are not violating all of these violations. But we, as the company, have to have some kind of tools, again, with all due respect, okay? We have to have some kind of tools to be able to inform you of those things, instead of DOT catching you and saying, hey, did you know you weren't supposed to do that? Well, chances are you know, but now you're stuck with the violation, with the ticket, and all bad stuff. So bottom line, we are on your side. That's what I'm saying. We are on your side. I'm not doing this out of spite. I'm not doing this because I like, telling people what's wrong and stuff like that. But look, we have to be very, very, direct to the point. We have literally a problem. And 80-something, I would say close to 90% of you are doing great. Okay? And 90% of you aren't gonna, to be honest, see much difference, okay? But the system that we put in place with the documents being turned in, that I've seen, it's already doing some miracles, to be honest, okay? It's just mind-boggling, just simple thing like that, and it's already doing a lot of things. But here's another thing. A lot of carriers out there already doing it. So if you don't agree with me on this, okay, please give me a call back. Okay, I'll be happy to talk to you. But here's the thing. I'm still gonna stand firm on this, because chances are all the other carriers are doing the same. And if they're not, if these carriers are not doing the safety enforcement and you want to go there, with all due respect, I wish you well. I bless you if you want to go there. In fact, if you can give us their DOT number, we will also call DOT and report them for not doing the safety. Because bottom line, everybody has to be doing this. It's impossible if you're not doing it to be able to make it with as a carrier company to compete with other carrier companies. And in fact, if you decide to open up your own MC authority, and that's totally fine. Like, we've had guys do that. I can tell you stories. I had guys that would start their own and say, Peter, I'm leaving because I don't like all of the changes that you're doing. And it's not fair, and I'm an owner-operator, I just want to do my own thing. Well, couple years or couple months down the road, I either met them over here because they were either local or something, or they called back, or they stopped by and they say, Peter, you were right about the logs. I remember this like it's crazy. You were right about the logs. You were right about the mate. You were right. And I'm like, well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that, but I would have done even more if I could, that you would have gotten it back then. Me being right and you're wrong, it doesn't solve the problem, okay? Bottom line, we have this issue and it's going to be resolved. And the reason why we're doing this is because, as I mentioned, most of you, close to 90%, are the good owner-operators and not having these issues. So to be honest, I feel like, I have to do this, and we have to do this because for those people. So, yes, self-policing is the good phrase. Somebody mentioned, we're all under the DOT's gun, which that's true too. It's everybody has to be doing this safety thing. Otherwise, we're not gonna be, making the money in the long run. So last thing I want to show before we go, this is on my screen right now. Why we're doing this is also because, as you guys know, month of August is driver appreciation, right? And we're getting ready to come out for this new award, which is the Most Valuable Operator Award. It's called MVO Award. What we're gonna do is we're gonna automate the system to be able to pull all of this data source from within the company. We already have all the miles per gallon, price per gallon, rate per mile, and fuel to gross ratio, and then all of these, how much you make per week, and you've seen all that. A lot of you are doing great right now. The rates are killing. I mean, you guys are killing it. Great job with that. So it's gonna pull that, but it's also gonna pull all of the safety features. We're talking about PC reports. We're talking about speeding report. We're talking about all of these different roadside inspections, Zoom meetings that you are attending to right now, all of the BTO cards, all of that is going to show, and it's going to come up with the score basically. And anybody who has the first top, you will get $1,000. The second place will get $750, and then the third place will get $250. And we're gonna do this monthly for everybody. So this is another big opportunity for you to make, extra money on top of what you're doing. But here's a very, very important thing. On this type of reward, we intentionally made it 2/3 towards safety and only 1/3 towards financial performance. The message we're trying to send, which I think it's obvious, look, we like you making money, but if you ain't safe, you ain't gonna be able to do it for long. It's just that simple. And PDP is here for a long term. So if you have that mentality, if you want to be safe, if you want to make money, you are more than welcome to be here. Okay? If you are creating the problems, you got to change. It's that simple as that. And if you can't change, or if you want change, or whatever the issue, we will work with you to an extent. But even then, we have a line, because negligence is a huge, huge problem. Not knowing something does not relieve you from the consequences. You are a professional, a self-dispatched owner-operator, and you are supposed to know these things, not like a driver. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything? Lindsay?
I just want to talk about the reefer PMs. I know we had originally set the reefer PMs for every 3 months, but we actually have everybody set at 4 months.
Why did we do the change again? Just mention.
Oh, we just changed it because we did, a lot of BTOs were calling in saying they weren't going to reach the 3,000 hours within those 3 months, and we did some research and we do understand that. So we did switch it to 4 months. And if you still haven't hit that 3,000 hours by the 4 months, we can change it to maybe 6, just upon proof of that you haven't hit those hours yet. But we will work with you if you haven't hit those, because we do understand that. So that goes as far as the reefer PMs. The other part that I want to talk about was quarterly inspections. We do require a DOT inspection every 3 months. There have been a couple mid-trip inspection reports that have came in, but we have compared those to the actual regular DOT inspection, and they are different, so we just ask that y'all just please get the DOT inspection. And PDP does cover them, so there should be really no reason why those are not turned in.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say, while we're finishing up here, I've messaged a few of you on the messenger through Zoom. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and sharing your name with us. That way we can add your name to the drawing list. That'd be greatly appreciated.
Yes. One more thing I forgot to mention. If you look at the screen here, on my screen, there's another report for personal conveyance in here. So this kind of gives you an idea of what we see. We are able to, and this is specifically for you, but for us, it gives us all the BTOs list, and we're able to see who does how many hours and stuff like that. So if you are one of the, like, for example, see, like in here, it's 29 miles PC. If it goes over 100 miles, it gives us a yellow, red, alert. And then Josh and somebody in this office will be reaching out and stuff like that, or checking into it, I should say, to see what's happening and stuff like that. Yes, but then I also changed it up a little bit in here to make it more organized. Like in here, for example, the concentration, customer concentration, I did it more of who is the biggest to smallest, and it's only the first 10 that are covered. So like this person, for example, uses a lot for TAL gas freight this year. Yes, but everybody is different, and that's fine. But like in here, for example, it was Uber Freight for this person. And it's pretty cool for you to see who, all of these other gray ones you can click, but they're all small guys basically. Yeah, so, but check it out. We are gonna have some more reports coming up. As I mentioned before, we're able to push the most valuable operator award. We also have to have a speeding report, so that's coming up. but we're very, very close. I think we're gonna make the deadline before August. And that's going to be the new way, because I know, as you guys remember, some of you that's been here for a while, we used to have a quarterly thing, and it was dreadful, to be honest, to be able to do all of that data and calculations and all of that, and took a long time. But this is all seamless and it's all automatic. Yes, there's more updates coming up. I try to maintain it and stuff like that and add more to it as we go. But in the next 2 years, there's still plans for the next 2 years, just so you know. There's a lot more coming. And that's good.
That's
so
good.
Let's do the questions really quick, and then we will have time for the drawing. So here, let me reclaim the host real quick.
Yeah, let me transfer it back over.
I already did.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, good.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and unmute or ask to unmute. If anybody wants to mention anything, you're welcome to speak up.
Peter.
Yes.
Hazmat. Are we going to get hazmat?
Yes, just like I mentioned last time, that we have a good road towards hazmat. And to get there, we have to get the score down. That's the #1 step. We cannot start anything to do with hazmat until the score hasn't been dropped. So once we do, we are also working together on making sure that we have all the policies and procedures and guidelines per FMCSA regulations to be able to do hazmat. However, you have to understand, when I say hazmat, I'm not talking about explosives. I'm not talking about radioactive. I'm not talking about all of these big ones that are, real problems. So just FYI, we are going to get the hazmats that do not require insurance.
Does that mean everybody has to get hazmat?
Oops.
No. Doesn't mean everybody needs to get the hazmat endorsement.
I think Woody was talking and then get...
So everybody need to get the hazmat.
No, it doesn't mean that everybody has to get hazmat. Because, again, we're going to be doing the hazmat portion that does not require insurance, or does not require, for everybody to do. The ones that do require everybody to have hazmat, we're not going to go that far. And those are explosives, radioactive, poison, and, very, very dangerous stuff.
Hey, Peter, Jonathan here. So on that hazmat, like flammable liquids, that should be good to go, huh?
Flammable, I have to check
We have to
with
look
that.
it up, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember about flammable. But I do remember that it depends on, there's like a number assigned to each one. And I don't have those notes in front of me, but bottom line, there's a couple of those numbers that we cannot do, and some of them we can do with the setting that we're going to do.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That'll work.
Yep.
We can do flammable as long as it's like paint and glue and stuff like that. They shy away from gasoline and diesel fuel.
Yeah, I know glue is on that list for sure. I've seen that for sure. Yep.
So, Peter, talking about the people that you said there was 13 people that were basically causing our score to go down so bad.
Yep.
And you've gotten, I guess, a few of them that you've gotten rid of.
Yep.
So what are the criteria there? So we, and everybody can fail an inspection. Anything can happen. We all know that. But what is the criteria that you're setting in place that after X amount, that person is gone, so it doesn't affect the rest of us and then we have to suffer?
Well, here's the thing. We're not doing general anymore. We have the tools today to narrow it down specifically who it is. And we've called those people, and we've been working with those people already specifically. You know who you are. In fact, if you don't, you can go to that PDP website, as I showed you. Let me show you again. And then this roadside inspection report. Pull up this roadside inspection report and look at these light colors. The ones that have the light red, the ones that have the light green, you know, you can see it right here who you are. And yes, just by clicking on these things, it can, you know, narrow it down. So like this person, for example, always failing, never passing. Okay. The criteria are the basic things like brakes, lights, tires. Well, lights is debatable, but specifically tires and brakes. There should be absolutely no reason why you would fail an inspection for that, because that is our top number 1 and 2 things why we're failing inspections. You know, those things, they do not go bad overnight. They usually, you have to check your tires, you have to check your brakes. I mean, it's a simple PTI. The second biggest thing, if you look at it like this, is false logs. And the reason why false logs, as Josh mentioned, it's because of hours of PC, misusing PC, or not understanding PC to the way that it's supposed to be. So those are the criteria that we're going after. And it's all right here. Right, you can see it.
I guess what I'm asking is, so if a person fails an inspection with, say, brakes or tires, it looks like there's the 2 hot points there, how many times are you going to allow that before you say, okay, that's it, you're done? And then that way, that person is out of the mix and our score can go down.
Well, that's why we have the the quarterly inspections, to make sure that I believe that once the quarterly inspections are completely enforced and in place, we're not going to have these type of problems. Josh.
Yeah, I think what the question you're asking is what would be the qualifiers that would bring a person to that level of questioning to bring them into the office to make a determination. And we wouldn't make anything more specific than what would be more specific to that individual BTO. However, a policy that we have here at PDP is that on your BTO report card, you can't go over 50 points.
Negative 50 points.
Negative 50 points. And so if you go over negative 50 points as a BTO, that would automatically put you into a discussion with upper management, with Peter and Myra. Outside of that, it would be on a person-to-person basis, questioning. If somebody has a legitimate reason for failing an inspection or something like that, we're willing to hear them out. So,
yes, I also think that it matters how, failed inspection. What is failed inspection? We had a guy that had a windshield crack. It was 1 point.
That's not gonna
that's not gonna move mountains, okay? But if you have 10 tires that are bad out of the whole 18 tires, you multiply each tire by the points that, you're talking about way, way, way up there. That should not happen. And I think that with the data that we have, we can narrow down who it was, so that we tackle down the historical issue, or fix the historical issue of failed inspections. And we're really, really pushing forth, with all of these quarterly inspections and all of these PMs and stuff like that, because we've seen already improvement on all of these. This is why we're doing them, because as you can see, our top violations have direct, results with those things. But not to repeat myself, bottom line, it's not really rocket science. We have the data to narrow it down, and we're going from very top to the bottom. And the guys that have been working with us, they're willing to work with us. They're teachable. They're still here. The guys that completely refuse and say, we've actually had a guy that said, there's nothing wrong with using PC for a long, long time. And then when I told him specifically not to do it again, he went and did it again. Because I think it was a poor excuse, the reason why. And the thing is, there's absolutely no reason why you should be, you know, driving fatigue, in my opinion. No matter what the, you know, you just cannot drive fatigue. I'm not willing to go that far with you. I'm sorry. It's just simple like that. Any other questions?
Let Lindsay pull tonight.
Expand on something that you just said, Peter, about you working with the driver. Let's just say he had a good reason for failing the inspection. I'm sure everybody here has caught a nail in the tire while going down the road or back, you know, at a truck stop or whatever. So my question to you is, a driver's going down the road, he gets a roadside inspection, turns out he has a flat tire because he has that nail in the tire. Now, and we all understand on the DOT inspection, it's not going to be so detailed where it's going to say nail is in the tire, so there's going to be a reduction of points. How do you handle a situation like that with the driver? Like, are you guys going to be understanding and not hold that over our heads?
I think what you just said right there explains everything. A tire cut nail. You're not going to have a huge failed inspection for that. Your points are going to reflect that. What we see with the roadside inspections that are really horrible fails is you have like 5 bolt tires. That's what we've seen. That's what we're talking about. It's unacceptable, period. I mean, obviously,
extreme cases.
Yes, and that's why our score is so bad. It's because of those extreme cases. That's what I'm talking about. You know, if you have a failed inspection with this or that, it's only a few points. And we have a lot of guys that even had some inspections, but they had way more past inspection that outweigh that. So, you know, just like Josh said, we're willing to hear you out. We're seeing we have the history, we have the data, basically. It's just simple like that. I'm not going to, and as I mentioned, 90%, almost 90%. I mean, out of 100 trucks, only 13, and some of those are gone already. So you're talking about literally, you know, 90% of guys that are doing very good, you know. But it's those top that are creating 50% of all the points, 50% of all the points. So that, if we just get rid of those 50%, our score is going to be way down. Imagine driving without having to worry about even getting pulled in the scale. I mean, and the thing is this, I've been on that side to be able to be pulled by roadside inspection and have you know, gone through all of that. It's a nightmare. Now imagine what we have to go through whenever DOT comes into our office and they're having to investigate every little stone for 5 days, searching through all the paperwork, all the data that they had. That's what the audit looks like on our end. It's much, much worse. So bottom line, I think with how we have it, and with this narrowing down specifically, it's gonna protect the 90%. Okay, and the other 10% is gonna make them make you think twice and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. But if not, yes, like a stupid vertical reflector. I agree. That yeah, like that. If you had a vertical reflector failed inspection, that ain't gonna change much. It's just a couple points and you're fine. So it really depends on what kind of inspection. Yes, I'm sorry. We had somebody.
Yeah, no, it's Maya. I just wanted to say, like, everything that you're saying and the questions that the owner operators are asking and stuff, I think it just simply reflects that all the information that you're giving them is making them what this company is all about, self-dispatch owner operators.
Yep.
Our scores will start to reflect the more that they adopt that self-dispatch owner mentality.
Self-policing.
Some people come already with that owner-operator mentality, and some have come on with company driver mentality. And I think all the information, all the graphs, all the charts that you're showing is helping them to adapt to that owner-operator mentality. It's getting them to see their mistakes and exactly, what it is that they need to work on and to be more aware of when they are on the road. And I think the more that they do that and they're on top of themselves and their trucks and their equipment, the talk about even, what are the qualifications of being, contract termination, will kind of disappear, because as long as they have that owner-operator mentality and you're following these charts and stuff, that shouldn't even be a question anymore.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's that mentality that we're trying to get everyone to adapt to know that it's not PDP's requirements. This is FMCSA, and if you don't adopt this mentality and adapt to what we're pushing and what FMCSA is requiring, I mean, you're going to get left behind, because not only is it required here, it's required at every other carrier.
Yep.
My question is, I do have a question. What is FMCA?
FMCSA?
What are they pushing? Yeah. What are they pushing to require? I'm not understanding that part of it, because I want to know what part of it that they're pushing that you're implementing. So I'm trying to understand that.
Yes, I'll be glad to explain. FMCSA, as you know, in 2010, they came out with CSA 2010, the new system.
Honestly, I don't know.
And
I don't know if they
hold on, who is that? Okay. So FMCSA came out with a new system in 2010 that counts everybody, everything. All of the roadside inspections, all the accidents, everything is counted, and they give a score. And the reason why it's even harder, because it's not just a score from 1 to 100%. It's based on peer. So if you have all of the carrier companies adapt a standard that is able to keep their score down, if the other carriers do not adapt that, and they keep doing how they've been trucking before, back in 80s and 90s and early 2000s, then their score will always be high, which basically means you're going to be out of luck with, our score is not that horrible compared to, worst case scenario. But if it was, and if it does get there, we're talking about, insurance skyrocketing. You hear companies going out of business because of insurance skyrocketing. Why do you think it went up? Because they don't care about the CSA, or they didn't adapt to all of these things. Then you're talking about, I can just go on and on. But bottom line, it's peer, system based on peer. Help me out here. What word am I looking for?
Similar evaluation.
Yes, and it's all automated.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, the more companies adapt something like this, and if you don't do it, you will fail, basically. So we have to have our own, some kind of, systems in place to make sure our scores are down. And what we're using, like for example, the PC reports, the speeding reports, all of this stuff, we're using that so that we could identify those issues before you get a failed roadside inspection. Because the roadside inspection is a final test. Call it SAT or whatever other test out there. It's like big deal. If you failed, it's not just a warm-up slap on the wrist. Oh, sorry, next time. No, it's horrible. That failure means it goes on your score, and it goes on your record, and it's bad. Okay? And the more of the points that you have on that, it's even worse. So a reflective tape would be only 1 point. But if you have 10 tires that are bold, you're talking about 70 points. Which is horrible.
And I get that, and I get that point. I just wanted to know what you thought they were pushing, because the only, you know what I mean, the only thing that I've been able to see is I didn't understand the peer thing, because when did they adopt that?
It's been since the beginning.
Is that just for the carrier, or is it peer to the drivers? Because I've never heard anything about peer to the drivers. It's always been to just the carrier, right?
Well, the carrier, yes. They basically every carrier competes for a better score, and the better score you have, the higher the bar raises. So now those carriers that have been doing so little, now they're even at more disadvantage, and so forth. And the bar keeps climbing up, basically, that way. For drivers...
so basically it's for the carrier.
Well, yeah, that's for carriers. For drivers, for you guys, it's still important, because if you don't have those scores very low, I know this for a fact from talking to some DOT officers and some auditors, that they actually keep track, and basically, if there is an audit in that carrier company, based on your points, you get selected to be audited. It follows you. Even if you switch companies, they pull the PSP report, they see that, and they go, oh, no, thank you. You know, you're not coming on just because of those. It's been already there for a while. It's been since 2010, and they fine-tuned it a couple times. But bottom line, it's a record that is different from MVR, because MVR is a state regulated, and in some ways, some states take some of the they share some information, they don't share all information. This is federally regulated, so it's very cheap for carriers to get get this data. So bottom line, it's another set of record that is just as important, I would say, as MVR. It's your livelihood.
So yeah, just a quick comment. If anybody's really interested, they can actually just go to the Federal Motor Carrier site.
Yep.
Look up the CVSA program, and it breaks it down into 5 categories to simplify it and explain it if you have questions.
I mean, what's it called?
And it explains it both for the company and the individual drivers. How it affects
shotgun or something.
Both sides.
Yep.
So on the driver's level, you can look up your PSP. That's where you find all of your 3-year violations and crash report.
Well, yeah, same concept, because that's under the CVSA program.
That's something that I was geared toward to being interested in, is because that definitely reflects as a driver where you're at. So is there any way of integrating PSP reports to the driver so we can see where we're at, or is that something that we can't integrate?
You go pull that up yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know you can do that, but is it something that we can just integrate into the system? That's what I'm asking.
Well, that's what we did.
Pull it up, you know what I mean?
Well, okay, the way I did it, I did it a little bit differently. That's relevant to the company and relevant to what we have right now in the last 2 years. So, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but you do show it. As I mentioned, like in here, this data that you see in here, this light red, that's your data. And I mean, if you hover over it, it gives you how many points you got and stuff like that. Yeah, this is coming from that directly.
Okay. All right, just want to...
Go ahead.
Can we touch on speeding real quick? Because I got a little email last Sunday. I was coming out of Miami. It said I was going 65 and a 45, and I'm like, well, that's funny because I'm on the Sawgrass Express, but it's 65 miles an hour. No construction, so it's inaccurate. I mean, anybody can speed or whatever, but for the most part, I'm not a speeder. I follow,
Yeah, that was inaccurate, and the team is telling me right now that was inaccurate. Josh, you want to mention?
Yeah, so we had a selection that randomly turned on from Fleet Complete, and Fleet Complete was sending out some emails that were not prior approved from PDP. And so that's why there's a few of you that actually got those emails. You can disregard those emails. If you're not getting an email directly from PDP admin or safety department, then you don't worry about your speeding up to this point at least.
And I know that there was a report even before that, and we canceled that too, because bottom line, we're still in process of getting a baseline for speeding. We finished PC, we finished these BTO cards that we just rolled out, and the next thing will be the speeding report, but we haven't gotten to it because we're waiting on something from Freight Waves that they haven't been able to give it to us. Or I'm sorry, Fleet Complete. Yes, Fleet Complete. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just got a quick question, Peter. What's your take or PDP's take on the ProAct that everybody's talking about?
Yes, I actually mentioned it a lot last month. But ProAct, I feel like we actually have the best case. PDP has the best case because we have. If you think about it, you know, they have these ABC tests and they have these questionnaires that you have to answer. Who has the control, for example, is one of them, the big one. Well, you have the control. We do not have the control. And we've been pushing that big time because of this test. And all of the tools that we give you, all like what Maya was talking about, we are a back office support to make sure we lift you up, we empower you, we coach you, we give you the information so that you reach the level to be self-dispatched owner-operator. Our goal is for you to be self-dispatched owner-operator. You have full control over everything, which says a lot compared to other carrier companies that say they have owner-operators, but they actually don't. Because that's not the case. The dispatcher controlling your load is a huge, in my opinion, you know, self or conflicting with the whole idea of who has the control. And since you have the control, we are very good with that. Second big thing that they're trying to come up on a change on that ProAct is if the company that you are contracted to does not provide, or does it provide the same services to the same customers. And for example, if you have a trucking company with drivers, and then you have independent contractors who are also providing the same customer service for the brokers, and your main customer is the broker basically, or shipper or whoever, that's a contradiction. And I agree with that. I mean, that is a contradiction. With us, that's not the case, because our customer is not broker. Our customer is not shipper. I mean, we want to do well with them and stuff like that. All of you want to do well with them with that, you know, but they're not our customer. You are our customer, because we do not have drivers at all. And we make it very clear and make sure that we don't have any drivers. So I think that out of everything that's coming from that, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, it already passed a lot of things, and I think it's going to happen. But either way, I think out of all the companies, we are most ready than anybody else because of the self-dispatch owner-operator model that we have.
I have one more question. Somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was Lindsay, about the quarterly inspections and that PDP covers those. Is that for the tractor and trailer, or just the tractor? And how do you get reimbursed? Because I just did mine last month and submitted all the documents and receipts, but nothing was done. I didn't follow up on anything that way.
Those are both for the truck and the trailer. So we cover it for both. You can either pay for it, send it into billing. Billing can reimburse you, or you can just call in billing and get an EFS check for it.
But make sure what is covered.
When I did mine, I just mailed it into admin for the receipts or whatever, because you need those for your records or whatever.
Yes. But yeah, we
attach them to both then.
Well, we can always forward it on to billing, but just let us know that you need that, because we don't know if you got that reimbursement. Just because we're different departments, we don't know you know, what you got. But just to make it clear, we do cover the truck quarterly and the trailer quarterly. But if something needs to be fixed in order to pass those inspections, that will be at your expense. We don't cover that. We just cover the inspections itself.
Hey, the covering of the inspection, this is the first I heard about it. Is this for the people who's leasing one of you guys' trucks, or for anybody?
No, this is for everybody. Whether it's because we do ask that you get them done every 3 months. So we just decided that we would cover them, but it is for everybody, every BTO that's here.
Oh.
They sent that out in an email.
Yeah, it's probably one of the ones I ignored.
All right, I got one.
Another reason why you shouldn't.
I want you to clarify. I want you to clarify on how much you guys will cover, how much money you will cover for an inspection, because some places charge more than others. So, what's your, you know, amount that you'll cover for an inspection?
So if you have an inspection paying $1,000, that's definitely a no. Okay. Usually they range. I've seen them $40. I mean, as far as 80, 100 maybe max. I mean it's really somewhere within. That's something that makes sense. But yeah, if you have somebody who is, hey, $1,000, that just, I don't know. Even California don't have those prices. So we'll question that.
Hey, Peter.
Yes.
Also, if you run Texas license plates, on your truck, they will cover the Texas inspection also.
Yes, Texas state inspection. The difference is Texas state inspection is yearly, but the quarterly, which is basically an annual inspection, we're just doing it quarterly. But yes, so that's quarterly. But you're right.
Oh, hold on, Peter. But I know this is Jonathan. I know y'all just gave me an Oklahoma plate for my step date. So do I need to get how does that work for the state of Oklahoma on the trailer?
No.
Oklahoma is, I mean, you just need the regular DOT inspection. You don't need any special inspection for that.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if they ran like they ran in Texas. So I just need on the annual, I just need a regular DOT inspection, a federal DOT inspection.
Yes, that's correct.
Quarterly. Doing them quarterly.
All right. Cool.
Yep. Also,
to kind of wrap up this evening before we go ahead and go into the drawing for your names, I wanted to bring up May 4th through 6th. This is CSA's certain attempt to go ahead and do a really specific roadside inspection. They're really trying to hammer the entire nation really hard in regard to doing roadside inspections and doing them thoroughly. And so we want to just go ahead and put those dates out for you so that you can be aware and that you can, if you have any loose ends to tie up before May 4th through 6th, that you can go ahead and tie those up. You will be seeing an email coming out from the safety department coming out this week in regards to that as well, to get the whole fleet aware, since we only have about 30% of the fleet on the call tonight. So we look forward to working with y'all in the future, and I think we'll go ahead and go on with the raffle drawing.
Yes, and you have them all already?
Yes.
We think so.
On that inspection, I wanted to just point out something. They did mention in one of the trucker reports they were focusing on lawns this year.
Yep.
You know how to pass you know how to pass that inspection through DOT when they have the blitz, don't you? You know how to pass it?
Stay home.
Keep your ass at home. That's right. That's what
right. Well, be ready for that. Either way, bottom line, I mean, you saw the map that I showed you earlier. It's not that one state is worse or better than the other. It's just, look, you just got to be ready. And if you're not, you got to take care of your stuff. Have the owner-operator mentality. We're going to go ahead and start with the next thing of calling out names. And then putting them in this bowl. And the good news, we have some really good news right now. Usually we do 2 drawings, but today we have a record number of owner-operators joining us. So thank you all for joining us. This is a very big deal. It makes it much easier, to communicate and speak this. And then, again, if any of you have any questions or anything, please contact us afterwards. If you want to specifically say something, I'm already... so just with that said, we're going to call out these names. If you didn't hear your name, let us know. But we're going to have more than 2 drawings today, so be ready.
Okay.
So, just so everybody understands, this is a $300 bonus just for being here, these 4 winners. But if you were here, you also get, and you're on this list, you also get 3 positive points towards your BTO card. The winners are?
Vincent Heck.
Okay, hold on, we gotta do...
There we go, Vincent Heck.
Thank you.
Yep, congratulations, man.
I gotta move it over.
Thank you.
Natoya Thomas.
Natoya, congratulations. So I heard Vincent. Is Natoya here?
Thank you. I had to unmute. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Billy Chafin.
Billy, congratulations.
Thank you very much. This is Billy. Thank you very much.
Just checking. And then one last one. Kevin Tobin.
Oh. Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Yep. Alrighty, congratulations. Thank you all for coming. We're gonna do this again. Next Zoom meeting is going to be on May 17th. It's also a Monday. It's also at 6 p.m. Just so you know, we do have a link that I sent to everybody, a YouTube channel. Check it out. I texted earlier. It's in the very, very beginning of this conversation, and I'm about to text it again. But check it out. It's all of the different videos that we've done. If you missed something, please check it out. If you have any questions and you didn't, or you just come up with some question, call us, talk to us. We want to hear from you, and we bless you and have a great, great week, great month.